Hello, my name is Swain. I am the Global CEO of APSCo. We're based in the UK, Australia, Singapore, and indeed Germany. And I'm joined with Melanie Forbes, who is the Managing Director of APSCo OutSource, both here in the UK, but also with its newly opened office in Berlin, covering the DACH region. We are people mail that have been in the recruitment market and, of course, the outsource market for a longish time. How long has it been for you?
34 years now. Started in staffing, moved into outsourcing probably 24 years ago.
Okay, so that's in the early doors, realistically, of that outsourcing market.
Yes, yeah, very much.
So if we look at, and I've been around in a similar time frame actually, do you think the market's changed?
I think aspects of the market have changed. So I think early days when I first moved into staffing, it was very much if you wanted to be successful, particularly as a woman, you needed to behave like a man. And I saw much evidence of that across the sector. I'm delighted that that's massively changed. I think more and more now, everyone's encouraged to be really authentic and who they are. And in outsourcing particularly, if you think about the leaders in the outsourcing sector, they are predominantly female, which I think is amazing. And I'm glad that the industry has taken positive steps towards that.
Look, I think that's right. And I look back in those early days when I didn't see female leaders, actually. There were a lot of female worker bees, but it was always a king bee rather than a queen bee.
Yeah.
And I do think we're seeing that change. Was it easy for you in recruitment in those early days?
Well, I get asked a lot whether I experienced any of that, bias that was quite prevalent, I think, in the market. I personally didn't. I've heard some horrific stories in my time, but I haven't personally felt that. Although I did suffer, I think, immensely with imposter syndrome in the early days. And that's some of that confidence around, look, if you're surrounded by men who are in leadership positions, how can you possibly be one of those? I always used to believe if you can't see it, you can't be it. So when I did get the opportunity to become a female leader, I naturally encouraged other females to join me. And it wasn't necessarily intentional, it just kind of happened. And I just felt that started then to pave the way for more women to come through.
You, I know, have 2 children.
Yeah.
How difficult was it and how worried were you about having children during your career as to whether it was going to spoil things?
Do you know, I think that was a big difference between staffing and outsourcing, because I had my daughter when I was in the career within staffing, and I remember being petrified to tell my manager that I was pregnant because I knew it would not go down well. And in fact, my managing director at the time said to me, "Oh, what a shame. We had real high hopes for you." And, and now when I think about that conversation, it's just ludicrous. And then later when I had my son, I'd already moved into the outsourcing sector. And I don't know whether just time had moved on. It wasn't necessarily the difference between the two, but I had a better boss maybe, and also the flexibility was there. But I often think about that our sector's renowned for long hours, being, present. Maybe some of what happened with COVID and how people needed to very quickly work from home. I think that some of that positive step change in recognising that people have outside responsibilities changed a lot. And I also think that I love the fact that we used to talk very much work-life balance. I can't bear that term, because who can balance anything for any length of time unless you're a juggler? Then you're pretty good at it. But I always used to refer to it as blend. You've got to blend the two together. One doesn't stop and the other one starts. They need to blend together and work for you.
Yeah, look, I think as a woman in the recruitment market for a very long period of time, and people say, well, how have you managed to have lots of kids and juggle big jobs? And I do think there's a blend that needs to be happening, and the blend isn't consistent all the way through that time frame.
Yep.
And that you should be proud that you can manage a blend. You need to be better organised, I think, than most people.
Yep.
in order to allocate enough time to do what you want to do. And then people deal with that blend in different ways. I've never really had photos of my kids at work, but then I don't have work at the weekend as much as I can try and avoid it, with the view that when I'm at work, but when I'm at home, I'm at home. And it can be quite tiring, can't it? Trying to be the best person in both situations and any other situations that you come across.
Did you ever feel discriminated about, by being a woman in the industry?
No, I didn't actually. And look, it would be a better story if I could say I did and I overcame it, but no, I didn't. I'm quite a strong personality, and it didn't occur to me that I should ever have that problem. And then you sort of push away things, through things. I do think, you mentioned earlier on that when we started, we were in a man's world, and that meant that you behaved not in a blokey way necessarily, but you were strong with your convictions, strong with what you were doing. Otherwise, you didn't survive very easily. I definitely had imposter syndrome. I don't get that so much now, but I definitely did get that, and that's fairly classic female stuff, really, isn't it? I would like to think there's less of that now. But I mentor a couple of people. I know you mentor other people through the recruitment world and the whole kind of outsource world as well, to try and help them come through. And what I would say is that there are times when female bosses discriminate against females themselves, as much as men doing it. It's sometimes less subtle, actually. And that I think we have a responsibility as we've grown through the market to make sure that we help other women do a great job, perform at their best, because that's best for the businesses that we run and best for the whole of the professional sector, I think.
I think as well, we've always associated with imposter syndrome with women, but as you said, I mentor different people and have done most of my career, and actually many men I've mentored also suffer with imposter syndrome, but they just feel incredibly uncomfortable talking about it because they're not supposed to have it. I think I like the fact that by people being more authentic and being true to who they are, that we've even that people can talk about, actually I do find that a challenge, and we've all got our own kind of insecurities around what we do. No matter how strong our personality, there'll be little or moments where we're unsure of ourselves, and that's all natural. And I think if we're open and honest about that, we give others the courage and the encouragement to talk about it and, as you say, move on from it and develop and get better.
Yeah, look, I think authentic leadership is all about showing your vulnerabilities and not being afraid to do that. And I really feel that nobody really in the market wanted to ever show their vulnerabilities. But we've learned and things have changed. So I think both men and women can show their vulnerabilities and be better leaders from it. You're aware, obviously, that the women in leadership training that APSCo provide out there in the market has had hugely good feedback, actually, as to what it's doing. Did you ever have any training early on in your career about a woman in a leadership role?
No, I think the one thing I would say is, which more happened when I got my first opportunity to join a board, and the board was at that time made up, it was only men, and I was also the only person on that board who'd not been to university, and that was when the imposter syndrome really kind of came to me and was very difficult. But it was a guy, the CEO at the time, who said to me, you deserve your place here, you've worked really hard, you know so much, you've got lots of experience. However, here, I'll help you, I'll give you some support and further training, but more in, I did something with the Institute of Directors, actually, around company directorship, and I became a chartered director. And to me, that was that kind of extra, oh, I've got this now, so I'm all right, I'm all right to sit here. But that was definitely a different view of, rather than giving me training in leadership, he gave me an opportunity to have training in sitting on a board and the responsibility that has, because that's quite different for a company. And I really enjoyed that. One of the things I think will resonate with you is when we were first in the industry, it had a god-awful reputation. And I don't know about you, but I would never tell people I was from the recruitment industry in the early days. And now I'm very proud. And I know I've heard you speak many times how proud you are personally of our sector. And the reason you've created APSCo was that professional, you know, we're a professional service. What we do is of a professional standpoint. You know, talk about how that's evolved, because it really has.
Look, I think every burgeoning industry has an opportunity to grow in different directions. And I felt strongly that there is an industry in the recruitment market, but there's also a profession, and people can choose which area they want to go to. And that the separation of the two is important, not because it lowers one and kind of elevates the other, but because they're different. And so consequently, look, APSCo in 25 years, that's 25th anniversary this year, have striven to prove the value that that the UK recruitment market brings to UK PLC.
Yep.
And obviously its associated markets, and obviously the outsourced market is part of that. And I think it's really important that anybody that's in that professional recruitment market is proud of what they do. I think that that's whether it's male or female, and that women, when they take leadership roles, need to promote, in the same way as men, need to promote the amazing service that we provide. And I do believe that UK businesses and government bodies wouldn't survive without us. And we are involved in some of the most important parts of an individual's life, changing job, moving house, moving location, going abroad to work, all of that kind of stuff is hugely important, and we are right in the heart of it. And therefore I think we're professionals. We should therefore have a responsibility of behaving like professionals. And I do believe that we've progressed in that market, and I feel very proud of it, actually. But, you know, it was early doors in those days of a new market creating itself. But we've come a long way. I believe very strongly that the client base are more sophisticated in their buying decisions than they've ever been. They're spending huge amounts of money on big projects, particularly in your market, but also in the recruitment market itself. And that our staff in this market need to be able to step up and be supported with mentoring, training and further development to actually capitalise on our opportunity. And that's about having great leadership. And that's about you running a business as a leader and pulling those people up, as in your boss at that stage, and making sure that you have director level training. But I think everybody needs to be doing that. And I think women also need to stand up and say yes to taking responsibility for their own careers and what they can bring to the party. And I think we shouldn't be pushed into women as soft and gentle and better at managing people, but men are better. I mean, we're all individuals that can be really good at different things. And I think there's an opportunity for March the 8th, International Women's Day, for women to really celebrate that we've come further. There's still far to go. And that there are real opportunities. And certainly in our markets, success is still on the screen. I could have said on the board, that might have dated me, but success is there on the screen. And so it's irrelevant who you are, where you've come from, and what educational background you have. It's about hard work, understanding and creating a really good knowledge base. And those people also can get promoted into leadership roles. That's a great thing for the whole market.
No, I totally agree. I think, you know, I've met my greatest friends within this sector. I love recruitment. I still get excited when members tell me they've made 4 placements as opposed to, you know, 400 or 4,000. So it is a sector that, you know, we wouldn't have stayed in it this long if it didn't still excite us. And the opportunity to now play a different role in supporting our members, our trusted partners, the outsourced client community, which really completes the ecosystem. And again, you know, full of women, very senior women in procurement, in TA, global TA roles is really exciting. And what's good, I think, you know, 25 years of APSCo, you know, can you believe that it's 25 years ago? It's just flown by.
I always thought I'd get a proper job, actually, back in the recruitment market.
Yeah.
But no, it's hard to believe, but there's a reality to this. And what's interesting is there you are, a woman leader running your business, and here I am too. It's all there for anyone in the recruitment market, especially women, to take hold of their careers, drive those businesses forward, and provide great services out there to the UK and also beyond.
So I think we should just say congratulations to all those women on International Women's Day, Friday, March the 8th.
Congratulations.